For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 101 of That. What are you giggling?
Just at the passage of time, it's
Why?
confusing.
Why so funny?
Well, episode, what number did you say it was?
101.
And are you being honest with us there? Are you being truthful?
Oh, that's as honest as I could be. Honest
That says
to
a lot-
God.
Says a lot about you then, doesn't it? Who are you though?
I'm Declan.
And I'm Isaac.
You may remember us from such podcasts as That's a Shame.
Many moons ago. God, remember those crazy days when we used to do that show? Simple Times.
Episode 100.
Yep.
Do you remember that one?
Baby Snitch.
Yeah, it was all
Very
about football.
Memorable.
I think so. I don't personally remember
but I
it,
imagine
but
someone
someone
does.
out there must
Yeah.
do.
But here we are.
We've sort of got an apology.
Sure, I wouldn't say it with a question. I think we need to be quite definitive.
We've got an
definitely
apology.
got a big, overbearing apology. Why don't you, because you probably feel more responsible than I.
Oh,
Take the
is it
lead.
my fault now?
Well,
is it?
There's always
passing the
blame
buck.
to be apportioned.
Yeah, so you may have noticed that the last few episodes under one weren't quite
Yeah,
the usual fare.
that's fair to say.
They were somewhat darker.
Yes,
They were somewhat more horrible,
somewhat noisier.
somewhat more heavily edited,
A lot of eating sounds in one of them.
and significantly further apart temporally.
Can't see one from the other.
Yeah.
It was long enough that if you know how some people say that goldfish, they don't remember very well. And it turns out they do remember quite well, but it's not very well.
Yeah.
So I think there's some animal that if you played it the first episode, by the time the second one came out, it would have no memory of audio or of podcasts as a concept.
Yeah, that wasn't initially the intention, was it?
It was never the intention.
No.
It was always our intention to stick to
Yeah.
a rigorous
suppose
release.
I suppose it's dishonest to say initially as if like by episode 2 we were like, right, fortnight until the next one, see you then.
I booked a holiday.
No. Well, we should probably explain what happened.
Yeah.
Why
Take
did we
us
do
back.
this?
Why don't you know your words that you like to use?
Are you going to get that hot?
Oh,
that hot sound
no,
effect?
no, I'm not
Oh,
actually.
okay.
We're saving it for later.
That was done.
That's so 2018, but not this month.
Um,
With your words, I need you now to paint a picture that takes me and the listeners back in time to when it all began.
I'm going to take the listeners way back when to episode 98.
Fuck.
Now-
No one remembers that.
I certainly don't.
Is that one still available online?
Not on mine,
No.
but probably online.
Okay.
Do you like that?
It was all right.
Yeah, thanks.
If you're ever going to advertise a personal internet, then that would be
On
an
mine.
avenue to explore.
We decided
Yeah.
after episode 98 that we were going to run something of a little grift, a little scam on you, the
We're
listenership.
pretty cheeky like that. For
Because
sure.
we knew that you guys would be expecting an anniversary.
Yeah.
We love an anniversary. A milestone.
we're big on
Toby Milestone's King.
T to the M to the K.
So we thought it would be quite funny if in 99 we bigged up episode 100 being the mother of all milestones.
Because we're not ones to leave any of the stops in. Quite the opposite. We pull them all out. And when I say out, I don't mean like a little bit. I mean all the way
Yanks
out.
them, throws them out the window. he
Right
does.
behind me in one swift motion. So you will have been expecting already without the hype that 100 was going to be nuts. I imagine some of you had booked time off work
Yep.
to celebrate, maybe bought your own like mariachi band into the mix.
Yeah, you know, you'd told the missus to leave the house for a couple of days just so you could have that time.
Yeah, just a kind of
yourself.
solo,
Yeah.
interacting with audio.
Maybe you booked a hotel room
Maybe you booked 2 hotel rooms.
just so you had another one to go and cry in.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we do episode 100 and it'd be boring as hell.
Oh.
Absolute forgettable drivel.
It's a good joke.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Pull the audio rug out from underneath
There
your
it
ear
is.
feet.
Ah,
Yeah.
visceral imagery.
so we did that bit.
Yeah. Oh, we fucking nailed the setup.
We nailed the not doing
got the
an
pitch.
anniversary. And then we were going to come in episode 101. That was a Wednesday. That's a content episode. We were keeping to the schedule. We were keeping our promises.
It's clever.
Bam! There it would be, 101.
Right when you
special
least expected.
anniversary episode. Now, our plan for this was initially to be some sort of clip show. A little, that's a shame, retrospective.
A retrospectivu, as
A
you might
retrospectivu,
say,
yes.
If you're backwards Declan in the 103 trailer.
And it would largely be some genuine clips from the show, but then there would be some kind of like weird bits in there.
But
to
funny
throw
weird.
off.
Like,
Yeah.
Haha, that's jokes.
And-
They're playing tennis. That never happened in the show.
And then like clips that never happened or clips that were altered versions of things that had happened to
Yeah.
make it a little bit weird, but largely enjoyable and a nice little way to round it off.
Yeah.
It came to Wednesday. Obviously, we hadn't recorded yet because we never have.
Wow. Don't give them that much of a glimpse behind the curtain.
Sorry, guys.
We sometimes have. Just
Rarely.
not often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I did was I went to the pub quiz.
That's been the downfall of many a young man.
And we came third. So we
Oh.
got the bottle of wine and a free drink.
You get wine for
So-
third.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent. What did you get for second?
A chunk of the seed money and some
Don't
free
call it
drinks.
seed money.
That is,
Like
that's
it's a
the
venture
term.
capitalism endeavour. You horrid freak.
Well, I've got some ill feeling towards this pub quiz.
Oh, have you?
So yeah,
Has it
I'll
fucked
tell you.
over? Okay,
I'll tell you
me in
about
the
it
next episode.
afterwards. Yeah. And so we drank the bottle of wine, and then after you've had a bottle of wine, obviously you have to have some more drinks.
It's like if you give a mouse a cookie logic, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like if you've been for a run, you're supposed to have a warm down afterwards.
And then a bottle
as well.
of wine.
Yeah, and then some more drinks.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then by the time I got home, it was just it wasn't that I was too drunk to record, or that you were too tired. It was just that, you know, the mood didn't.
Because we needed to conjure, if we're going to bring the party has to start with us.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there.
And my party was already over.
Declan had spent his party all over the walls of the pub.
So what we decided instead was to just, you know, spitball a little.
Yeah.
Throw some ideas
Blue
around.
sky this bitch.
Exactly. And as often happens with us, it didn't stay within the bounds we'd previously set.
It's a good thing, really, for our own productivity, free time, sleep schedules, especially.
Definitely.
That we don't talk too often about any ideas that we have for stuff to do.
Yeah,
because it's never like, oh, I've got this idea for a 10-second Vine. Not least of all because the platform's dead and buried. But it's always like, I've got this idea. And then
We're going to
the
have
other
to write
person's like,
7 novels
yeah, it's like,
to
right,
set it
okay,
up.
So we'll go driving for maybe 3 to 5 hours. Just see what happens. We'll take a laptop full of dreams.
You know, you guys think it's laziness that we don't have more features, but the truth is that it's dangerous.
Yeah,
like,
we have to keep that genie thoroughly bottled.
yeah, it's like looking at someone and being like, looking at an alcoholic and being like, oh, but you can surely have one drink. And it's like, no, I can't.
If we learn anything from Aladdin, it's never free a genie.
Exactly.
Because then all your wishes have gone. Sailing
That's
off.
it. And as long as he's still in there,
Yeah.
you've got potential.
Yeah, you just give it to someone else and get them to wish on your behalf as a wish envoy.
So what we did instead was we came up with a 5-part horror series.
Yeah, horror sort of in italics that implies it's horror adjacent.
Yeah.
We wanted it
Initially,
to
at
be
least.
show based, but then to just probe some weird shit that we hadn't previously encountered.
Cool way of putting that. Yeah.
Why not? And that's very much how the idea was born. It wasn't one of these things where we'd like sat down and planned a huge amount of what that meant in advance.
No.
In fact, the very, very, very opposite. We'd planned fuck all of it.
And even when we had done this little bit of planning,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really have any idea of what the whole arc was, what the narrative was.
Absolutely
All we basically had was a broad strokes. We wanted the first one to be a normal episode that went awry.
Yeah.
The second one probably to be on the road. The third one was going to be walking around, revisiting Bloxwich.
Yeah.
The fourth was going to be a clip show, and the fifth was going to be a true crime parody. And then we'd launch straight back in, never mention it again.
Hope for the best. And really, at the time, all I had in terms of like production ideas was a real affinity, which I think you will have picked up for the pitch.
For the pitch shift. You discovered that and you were determined to abuse it.
It's like when someone's learnt a really good new word and they try and drop it, like this whole thing with lodestar that you will no doubt have seen, the word lodestar being in that anonymous op-ed, so everyone thinks it's Pence or his speechwriter, because who the fuck uses the word lodestar
Absolutely
outside
no one.
of country music? It's no one. But when someone is just pregnant with utility, it's the times like that you're going to have to pitch shift.
Yeah.
We knew that we would probably end up.
Reverting to Joe at some...
So what are you doing?
Nothing. What?
You're not.
I wasn't. No. Just carry on. It's fine.
I better not hear.
You won't. Don't
Well, I
listen.
listen back because...
Anyway,
We knew we were probably going to go back to kind of Bloxwich to Joe, etc. But we hadn't de facto decided that was going to be the case. But obviously, as you will have heard, it was.
It for sure was.
And as we went through, we kind of wrote the story as if we
Don't
can,
say that with a
the
straight
narrative, as it were, kind of bit by bit,
Yeah.
episode by episode.
Which you won't be able to tell at home because obviously it comes across
so
as
seamless.
such a cohesive piece.
We scrapped the idea for 103,
Yeah, fucked it right out of the
but you can hear what it was going to be if you are a patron.
Patreon, is that patreon.com/Shame City?
That is the one you've been.
I
You know
go
it,
all the time because it's a great. I consider it the front page of the internet. It's my
And you
homepage.
haven't. That's not trademarked.
No one else has
copyrighted.
used that.
Okay,
so
that's
far,
quite good.
to my knowledge.
That's handy because it's kind of like a window where you thought somebody probably would have used that.
But sometimes it's the most obvious ideas that I come up with.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, I've often said
no
that
one
your
else
ideas
has.
were obvious. And we moved the clip show and the true crime parody up, and then we were kind of left a little bit stranded with what 105 would be.
Shipwrecked on the audio sea.
Yeah, I mean, we got rid of what 103 was going to be because it wasn't distinct enough.
Yeah, it wasn't very
largely.
good.
No, not very good
If you
at
listen
all.
to that episode where we talked about what it was going to be, we were planning it for half an hour. It
We were
became this
very excited about.
Yeah.
You wanted it to be like D&D or something.
No, I want it to be like a sort of pseudo fairy tale
Yeah.
thing with 3 objects, like a Pan's Labyrinth. What I'm saying is I wanted to smash your face with a bottle, like the Capitan does.
It sounds like something that the executives do probably at Warner Brothers, where they just have a bowl of genres and a bowl of styles,
Yeah.
and then a
And
bowl
a
of
dartboard
characters,
of-
and they just blindly pick one out. And it's and it's going to be 2 white men in a fairy tale. Found footage. Send it out. We'll give it to
Guillermo
We'll give
on
it. I was going to say Guillermo. Yeah.
There you go.
So we kind of scrapped that, moved everything up, and then we were very much lost for ideas as to what to do for 105. I think it was, again, only after we did the true crime parody, the Dial M for Crime, that we even reneged on our initial stance that we were never going to talk about it and decided that it absolutely needed a
That was really just
full-length
because of how
apology.
long it had gone.
Yeah.
If the original plan was to just release them at pretty much a normal schedule, and then at the end to just act like nothing had happened. That's why they all have such weird names in the feed. But what with it having been, I think, 6 months at the very least since anyone saw.
Well, because our initial stance was that we weren't going to talk to anyone.
Well, and we maintained that for quite
yeah,
some time.
but
I didn't realise we'd stopped that. Do you mean you've been back in touch?
Isaac's mum's got posters all around
I'm
Canterbury
legally
looking
dead.
And as far as the tax man knows, I always will be.
Good luck with the rent. I've passed lead tenant on to you in my will.
Oh, thanks.
Hope you're ready.
Cheers. Yeah, because the idea was, we'll do that. We won't talk to anyone. We won't post any Facebook statuses or tweets or whatnot.
Yeah, we made our Twitters private. And stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because we thought the initial plan was to have it all done within about 2.5 weeks. And then we didn't talk to anyone for about 3 weeks and then realised we'd still only put out 1 episode.
People had just kind of gone through all the stages of grief in that time and found that their lives were much the same on the other side.
We did get some feedback, even though we
did.
even though we weren't putting much output.
Yeah, the first bit of feedback I recall was from Mark, Supercont Mark Stratfold.
Yes.
Where he very generously emailed to find out what the fuck was going on with our standards.
Did you ever actually respond?
Yeah, no, I don't think I did.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no. No, I didn't.
Okay. Oh, fuck.
Sorry, Mark. That was when we were still in character as not alive.
Yeah. And totally forgot to ever go back
It's
to it.
because he emailed first to be like, congratulations on the milestone. Like, looks like your standards have slipped. What's going on with the episode description for 101 and the title?
Oh, yes.
But then he emailed a day later or something. He was like, right, I get
Got
it. You guys are fucking about. And I'm not necessarily here for it, but you do you.
Cheers.
It's like a father having to watch his idiot sons
Yeah.
like a school assembly when they're really set on doing river dance, but it's a social suicide. It's like, okay, lads, well, I'll be over here.
Yeah,
I'll see you on the other
I'll
side.
be there in spirit. The other feedback that we got was from dear old Dange, who was on holiday and we had totally ignored for a fortnight. And upon the release of episode 102, sent me a direct message saying, I hate TAS. And then sent the show a DM on Twitter that said, this has quickly become my least favourite podcast.
And if that's not success, then
What
I don't know.
is?
Yeah, exactly.
Noah message saying, thanks for the effort, but won't be downloading the Bloxwich episodes again.
I think he thought more of us than he ought to have done, because I assume his thinking was that we were doing some sort of ARG, like
Probably.
where you had to dive back into the past. And,
we haven't
we'd have
got
left some
time for
clues in Morse code, which I'd love to do one day. So,
Yeah.
So maybe download them now, just in advance.
Professor Matt was totally on board.
Yeah, well, he commented on the Patreon saying that it was good, so that counts.
He described it on Twitter as like the new Twin Peaks.
Oh, he did,
something
didn't
like
he?
that. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I didn't make that up, did I?
No.
Okay, good.
He did actually say that.
What a great thing to have made up for myself.
Said I was the new Christ.
So yeah, like and I mean, you just said now that you.
I went onto our website for the first time in the whole time we've been doing this, because much like confronting our landlady about whether we can stay another year as of next month, it's something that I knew I'd put off because I didn't like what the answer might be. So I hadn't been to check like our downloads for ages. And then I looked today, and June, July, and then August, it all goes up. It's an upward spike.
Which
August
even though
is
there
like
was
the most
there
downloads
were
we've had.
2 episodes released in August.
Yeah, 2 and a trailer. Madness.
That's nonsense.
So
isn't
thanks. So what we're saying is, on the whole, it seems to have been better received than we anticipated.
it? By pretty much everyone except our best friend.
Which I think.
Oh, your
is-
mum was quite frightened as well.
Yeah, she was a bit freaked out, and also I
Yeah.
used her voice without asking her in one of the episodes.
That was good,
where
yeah.
She just happened to have left me a voicemail. I was like, "That's going in."
But yeah, we kind of came to the end. We knew we were going to talk to you, but then we were quite lost as to what we were going to do for this.
And we thought we'd take inspiration from what had gone down the best in the run so far. And we looked back, we had 101, like you said, which was kind of the intro. That's like the, what do they call it in screenwriting, where it's like the inciting incident.
Right.
That was that one. Obviously not a lot of depths to plumb there for a callback.
No.
Then we had that one where we were outside and in a lot of bullshit places, and that was going to be too much effort.
Oh, much
and
too much.
noisy an episode to put
Far
out
too
again.
much.
And then we got to the clip show, and knowing, as we did, just how much Joe Dange, guest on episode
6.
loved the thing. Hated.
He hated it, refused to finish it.
Refused
He very
to finish
proudly
it.
told me.
We thought, what if we give the clip show another go?
And then... Pull up a seat, Crimophiles, and welcome back to Inside the Corpse with me, Mike.
And me, Ike.
A patron-exclusive miniseries where we take you beyond the normal episodes into new things that weren't in the other episodes because we didn't say them in the normal episodes.
And as always,
Caressing the answers.
coming for ghosts.
Let's get spooky. But first, a word from our sponsors.
This special broadcast from Dial M for Crime is brought to you by Play-Doh. If you like eating salty dough, buy yourself a pot and give it a go. Use the code SODOMIRAY and Ray'll send you 10 grams of ice-cold dough straight to your front door.
And Uncle Tone's own Phone Tone Zone. Need to loan a phone tone for your dog and bone? Head to Uncle Tone's own zone. Uncle Tone's own Phone Tone Zone is a subsidiary of the Global Phone Tone Zone network. It is not in fact Uncle Tone's own zone for phone tones. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details.
And by Cole.
The one true power. I'm Mike.
And I'm Ike.
Let's get spooky. Answers are often found at the back of the book, and that's because they're the last thing you think of. My mum used to say that, but she was really bad at maths, so I never knew whether to take her word for it or not. But if this show has taught me anything, it's that mums are always the last suspect. They've got a way about them that quells the nerves and stuns the senses in a way that an absentee father never could. Finding the truth is the first stage of any investigation, and sometimes you have to wade through the interminable quagmire of family drama, red herrings, and spiritual misguidance before you stumble across a kernel of pure evidence. And that's why we do this. So, welcome back to...
Solving is a semicolon.
Okay.
A wise man once said that life is like a box of chocolates, but solving, as I said, is much more like a semicolon. He hadn't thought of that. Like the mighty tides of Neptune, solutions come and solutions go, ebbing and flowing in the wake of goodwill, of friendship, of life. When the answers come rap-tap-tappling upon your chamber door, welcome them as an old and distant friend, upon whose countenance the ruins of time have shattered with no mercy. Grasp him warmly by the hand. Look him in the eye and say, I do. Nay, I must.
So...
What were you saying?
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I was just saying welcome back.
Absolutely welcome back to a patron exclusive episode.
Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a while. We know, we're very sorry. I know we're behind, but it has been an extraordinarily time-consuming couple of months.
We've been on the road.
Investigating the Bloxwich murders. And,
all two of them.
You know, now that the entire series is out, you will have heard how things ended up.
Yeah, not what we expected, it's fair to say.
No,
not
definitely
necessarily
not.
what we predicted.
No.
And that really is why we've done this episode today.
Yeah, it's very much a theme, if you could call it that. And we have.
Absolutely.
So today we just wanted to go through some of the theories, some of the ideas that we had along the way that never even made it to air. I mean, look, we are not ones to... toot our own trumpets, to blow our own horns. We are not ones to shy away from the fact that we are sometimes wrong. And you hear that in the show as it is. But there's so much more wrongness that goes on behind the curtains.
And that's the thing. In solving, as in life, you have to be wrong to be right. 5, 10, 20 wrongs make a right.
No one has ever been right first time.
Absolutely no one.
Certainly not in crime.
It's never happened.
Not even the once.
Shall we step into the theory puddle?
I think it's time. The Theory Puddle.
Hello and welcome back to the Theory Puddle, the place where theories become queries. I'm Ike.
And that's
Oh, we've said our names.
queries. You made it sound like a sort of slur.
Oh, no. That's queries are Queer. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
good. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
No, that's really good.
Because we've
Please.
got a diverse listenership.
Absolutely. Always pull each other up.
And
on
after
stuff.
the debacle over the live show, I just wanted to be pretty...
Yeah, well, we don't need more of the Murdoch press breathing down our necks.
No.
That's for sure. This is a place where no idea is a bad idea. And
Wrongs are
where
rights.
Wrongs are rights, and where the best stuff sinks to the surface. Time for the theories. And why don't you kick us off? Because I know throughout the process, every time, let me tell you, listeners, I would look round, we'd be walking alongside, I'd go to turn and talk to Mike, and where is he? Where's he gone? I'd look back, he was, magnifying glass out, deep into a clue, knee deep in some logic puzzle in the notepad.
Normally, I just lost my glasses.
Either way, it seemed to be like a lot of solving. The little grey cells were really ticking over, the neurons firing and wiring together.
Well, one of my earliest theories, was really focused on the roads angle. There seemed to be a lot of emphasis on the driving of the car, on the road, of the car being on the road, being driven. All of those things kind of coming together in the harmony that we would think of as, I suppose we just put it under the umbrella term of driving.
That's an easy to digest soundbite, sure.
And so I thought that maybe the entire campaign of terror, as we've thought of it, waged against Isaac and Declan was in fact masterminded by the UK government, more specifically by the DMV.
Which is the Department of Motoring Vehicles.
Yeah. Also coming under the umbrella of driving, you see.
Absolutely. Now, that's only just clicked for me.
Exactly.
That connection.
Exactly. You see, it takes a time, but then it all kind of falls into place.
Ka-plunk.
And that what they wanted was more traffic visiting Bloxwich from the south so that they could get feedback on the M1 as a potential alternative to HS2.
HS2 being the
high-speed railway that they're building.
Between London and the Midlands.
Yeah, that they're sort of destroying all that greenbelt land and moving people out of their homes.
And presumably no one else goes to Bloxwich intentionally, at least.
No, definitely. No, actually.
So if those deep state DMVists could manufacture a reason, a narrative, a purpose for them to travel, then that's going to be something they can study and use in their investigations.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But the thing was that we realised that only like 5% of people who listened were from the UK. And that of that 5%, there was no way of knowing if they'd be coming up the M1.
But they do say all data is good data.
And that has been said, certainly on our show.
Every datum helps.
Yeah.
And I guess if they're trying to cast the net, they're going to go broad. They're not going to go narrow.
Oh, no, you've got to stretch it out.
Yeah, you have to.
Like the basking shark.
Like a distended mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Well, that's interesting. Let me hit you with something that I was working on the whole time.
Did you ever bring this up?
No, because it's a theory that if I'm honest, struggling with myself, and it will become quite clear why.
Okay.
It's not a theory that I feel we're qualified particularly to talk on at length. But if it's the truth, then out with it. I've always said that, haven't I? You can back me on that.
Oh, yeah.
You can take
every
it to
day.
the bank.
Sometimes he comes into my room at night.
Well,
and just says
someone's got to do it. My theory is this. I started at what I call first principles, where you go back to the beginning, you take nothing at face value, nothing.
All of your assumptions.
Really important that they go out the window, and you get back to the principles.
Back to the facts, as you would say.
Absolutely. B to the F. There I was examining my iCloud album of photos of the victims, because obviously we had to download all their Facebook and Twitter images.
Yep.
We had to become their friends on Snapchat for quite some time just to accumulate that kind of data.
The shame of it was, what with them being dead,
very little of it
wasn't
was
a lot
forthcoming,
of output.
But it felt, I don't know, I felt a connection there, digital or otherwise. I was browsing through it and something struck me that was at once so obvious and yet almost too obvious that it had gone back round to being very obscure.
Right.
Both of these young men, cut down in the prime of their lives, why? They were of the white ethnicity. And this phrase just exploded in my head, every neuron firing at once.
It was a hate crime,
There was no.
Oh, sorry.
I'm suggesting that it was a double white guilt suicide pact.
I see. So they felt so appalled by their own whiteness,
Absolutely,
that they felt the need to be murdered by a black man in order to cleanse themselves of that guilt, of that privilege.
Well, that's what they say.
Because death is the ultimate
level
reversal of privilege, isn't
and
it?
that as well.
Yeah.
There's no privileged dead, are there? Or are there? What about those ones in Westminster Abbey? They're very privileged.
Yeah,
to be
but
dead.
I don't think there was any danger of that for these boys.
no,
Really.
no great ceremony for them.
No. What would their bodies probably being in some sort of Bloxwich based
Yeah.
tarp?
And I'm not even knowing that it's murder, you know. I think it could be the case
think
that they
that-
were on holiday. Let me paint a picture
Okay.
for you with my words.
Do it.
They were on holiday. They were enjoying the sights, whatever they are, of the Midlands, of Bloxwich in particular, of it's Thorpe Park, isn't it? That's up near there. Chessington. Sorry, it's very silly of me. They'd had a lovely day out, but were probably confronted, maybe at one of the crescendos, the climaxes of Professor Burp's Bubble Works, the Vampire Ride, maybe even the little zoo that's attached, as I
Chessington Zoo of
recall.
Adventures.
It would have struck them like a bolt of Neptune's lightning that their whiteness, it had gone on for
It was
too
a plague.
long. And they probably turned to each other. I can picture it now. They turned to each other, synchronicity kicking in, like two Lego pieces.
There's
being
probably a
dropped by the same
photo
hand.
somewhere of them like on one of the rides,
It's
just
funny
looking.
you should say that.
Absolutely.
I
one another.
investigated that, and it turns out you're not allowed access to those.
Oh,
So,
but
why would that be the case?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What you're saying that they would not just give you all those photos
No.
from the ride from that day?
Well,
from
I
all
didn't
the
know
rides?
which ride. But I
Oh, so
did
all
know-
the rides.
I knew it was between us, one of the 3 days they were up there. But yeah, the
I
Merlin
still
group
wouldn't.
were suspiciously absent from the picture.
It's interesting that you should bring up ethnicity, race, sort of that
We tackle
idea
those
of
issues on
personality.
Darling.
Yeah, because I remember very early on, I think, we were, again, going back that kind of first principles idea, and we were looking at, we had always assumed, as had many others, including the police, that when they referenced Joe, that they were referring to an individual. But,
Hang on a minute.
of course, you will remember when we believed that actually Joe may have been an acronym, the Joint Occidental Espionage Force.
No, like catching them swans then.
The F being silent.
No, like
And
catching
also
them
absent.
killers then. There's
Yeah.
just the one killer, actually, says Sergeant Angel, triggering in his mind the realisation that the JOE were behind it all.
Exactly.
That's
and
good detective.
a sort of cabal of far Western governments
A conspiracy that goes right to the core of the West.
working together to murder them.
A conspiracy without conspirators
Mm.
or with only conspirators. That's for us to decide.
And we even considered that it may have been so far west that it came back round and was far east. But I remember the police telling us that that theory was in fact too offensive to be true.
Yeah, they did. They did make that very clear across that 3
And whilst that's not, we're not the sort of snowflakes to just
Come
drop
on.
something because the police have told us that.
They did say that we'd be arrested.
It was potentially an egregious hate crime. But we did end up dropping that theory after we realised that there was, in fact, no conceivable motive, nor even any evidence that we could think of to support the idea.
To me, and this, apologies if I'm being, a stickler here for first principles, the lack of evidence, the total lack of evidence, surely that
is in itself.
evidence
Yeah, well,
in
that's
itself.
again, it comes back round.
Why
doesn't it?
would there be no Western or Asian people involved? Why would there be no Asians at the scene of the crime?
I mean, it would almost beg a belief for that to be the
It's
case, just
begging mine.
statistically.
It's crazy.
And to think that the police, when have the police ever been interested in protecting the rights and the feelings of minorities?
Anyone who's not white, they couldn't care
Exactly.
less.
So-
Couldn't care less.
And just because we thought that they were solely responsible for a large organised crime network aimed at murdering 2 innocent young middle-class white men,
one of them was straight. One of them was one of the straights.
Yeah.
He was a straight.
all of a sudden, we're offensive.
I mean, it's the world we're living in, PC.
Doesn't cut it with me.
It's gone mad. Let me hit you with this, and I use the term quite deliberately. What if they weren't murdered? They got hit by a train.
In the house.
Absolutely. In their beds.
And I remember you bringing this up,
It was while we were on the train.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of made it click for me as I was looking out the window. And funnily enough, it wasn't being on our train. It was the fact that another train rapping
Went
past. And you know
past.
the air pressure, it changes. It gets somehow thicker. I could smell mystery all over that carriage.
I'm struggling to
There's some mystery
recall.
on the walls in the bathroom.
I'm struggling to recall why we dropped that theory.
This is my query as well.
Maybe we should open that avenue back up.
I already have, and I've been in contact
Okay.
with LNER, which is the rail network in question. Unhelpful thus far,
Really?
to say the least. And again, that's a suspicious.
But the train and ticketing system can be very complicated.
It can, and that's it was nice.
It's
of
been the
Lauren to
downfall of
point
many
that out.
people.
Absolutely.
For few, it has been their cause of death. But you've got to start somewhere.
That we know of.
Yeah.
That's always the thing, isn't it?
Again, it all comes down to this idea of authorities hiding information.
Why do
from
they
us.
hide?
Why won't
do
the
they
police let
hide?
us investigate the idea that it could be, an Asian murder?
Why won't Merlin and his wizard photographers just show us the evidence?
Why won't every train network explain to us how it's impossible for two boys to be murdered by a train in their own beds?
It's sick, the world that we live in. It's a sick, broken world. Should we take a step out of the theory puddle?
I think it's time to wrap things up.
Let's dry ourselves off. The final thoughts.
The boys they drove to Bloxwich, and there they met their end. And trying hard to solve this crime, it drove us round the bend. The government against us, and the train lords saying nout, the folks at Merlin silent too, left lots to figure out. The police were helpful, more like not, we had to go alone. If answers hid, we'd only find them working on our own. I wouldn't say we solved the crime, at least not in a way that would in legal circles let us say we saved the day. But in a more substantial sense, we helped caress the ghosts and came for answers everywhere to save those podcast hosts.
Until next time, I've been Ike,
And I've been Mike.
and we just got spooky.
Sorry about that.
Never mind, hey. It's every dog has its day, and Mike and Ike's day is now past them, I think.
I think got a bit carried away.
As they would, they're very charismatic chaps.
Exactly.
Egomaniacs.
I can't remember what we were
Megalomaniacs.
saying.
We were talking about the recording process, and
Oh, yeah.
if I might offer a little segue here,
Okay.
one of the big challenges that we faced making, in particular, our road trip episode 102
That is it.
was, and here's a little bit of inside baseball for you audiophiles out there, the iPhone is bullshit to record on.
Oh, is it bullshit?
Yeah, the sound's not too bad, but I tell you what, it's in a file format that you don't want to deal with ever. So, amongst other things, we had issues of recording on location, where location meant your car, McDonald's,
Yeah, car parks.
car parks.
I remember them
garages.
saying that filming on location on the sea was really difficult when they did Jaws, but I don't think they'd ever recorded on land,
They'd never
like on
tried
the
Cobham
road.
Services, had they?
No, they'd never been there.
Lazy.
With
Lazy
that
Spielberg.
squeaky chair in the background.
yeah, made a
I
horrid
say
noise.
squeaky, what I mean is death screech,
Sounded like a
banshee
Nazgul.
dying.
Tell us about the concept for that episode. How did it come about, and why, in God's name, did it sound so horrid?
Well, we wanted to do something on the road because for us, the initial Bloxwich experience was at least 50% in the car,
Yeah.
either driving to, driving around, or more importantly, driving from Bloxwich.
At some speed.
Yes. And so there was lots of time spent on the road at high speeds, feeling quite anxious.
Mm-hmm.
There was lots of time spent nervously in service station car parks, and we wanted to capture some of that feeling for you guys. I think it also was born out of a desire to have like lots of changes in audio, like the ambient sound.
Yeah.
I really like when I'm watching or listening to something and I was glad that we managed to kind of achieve it in this, that very obvious change in sound quality or sound type when you like go from inside the car to outside
Or
walking.
when we have us leaving the service station in Cobham and then being outside, I thought that was a good transition.
They work quite nicely, and they give it again like a sense of legitimacy.
Because when we first had the idea to do that, I had kind of assumed that we would be doing it like in my room where we record most things, and maybe I'd like play some car sounds, but you insisted, and I thought a bit like over the top initially, that we had to go out driving and it had to be at night. But it definitely like it builds a sense of the world that's there, even if the world is a horrible noisy hell.
Yeah, and I think as well it kind of added to the veracity of our tiredness and fear at lots of points,
really method acted those late night
because
drives.
it was just quite frightening. And when you're play acting at being followed by a creepy murderer, you can't help but then also see creepy murderers in every car that goes past or that comes behind you.
Like you said, there were moments, most notably when we were on that little country lane hiding from the person that was not following us. Although for a while there was someone behind and I kept looking around and he must have just been very confused about the whole thing. But when it was quiet and when we drove off a main road onto another one and we turned off the ignition and waited for someone to pass, that was...
Floor 0.
Declan, where are you going? Can we just talk about this? We can't just fucking go in the car. Well, now what?
I don't know.
What's the plan?
I don't know. I need to just drive.
Okay. Where though? Where to?
I don't know.
Right. Is there a reason that you've
Any
got
ideas?
me out of bed at 4 a.m. for a joyride?
The moment just took me. I just had to go.
You had to go, but you didn't know where you were.
No.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm furious.
But really, it was anywhere that we had to record that wasn't
absolutely.
here in the room.
They're all a fucking hassle.
I mean, there was the running around the car park.
You looked very criminal and mad.
Right, by all those lorry drivers who were looking at me very creepily and
what was
silently.
good was that they were looking at you the first time you recorded it, and then you came back to
And
the
then
car.
I went straight back and
Because
did
it
the
is
same thing again.
Deleted, hasn't it?
Auto delete.
That's a good feature of voice memos.
We had that wonderful woman in McDonald's.
She was, you couldn't have asked for a better background sound than her shouting out numbers. It was really good.
It was quite like haunting. It was very real as well. Like it was the most
literal
believably
sense.
McDonald's.
It was good.
But yeah, like any time that we wanted a change in the audio quality, it meant going somewhere else. And that brought with it its own like problems.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff we recorded, not a lot, but a few of the bits took place on our balcony. And I know what you're thinking. You've got a balcony? Yeah, and what? What of it, okay?
Only for another month.
And then we're being kicked to the curb. If our landlady is listening, though, landlord, I mean, then do let's have the flat for another year.
Go on,
That'll be
please.
good. Please, thanks. Otherwise, the show will fuck up in a big way. And our lives. Anyway, recording on the balcony, whilst certainly easier in terms of you don't have to walk very far, it presented the challenge of a kind of rear window-esque visibility because it faces onto like a courtyard of grass where 3 other blocks of flats are looking in.
Yeah, there was quite a theme of doing things that would look very mental
Criminal.
and or suspicious. Yeah,
Filming in the car park, another great problem. Looked like we were trying to rob every car there.
it is a wonder that we weren't arrested more times than.
It's aggressively cold. It's grim part of the country for sure.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing.
I mean, I know that the temptation is to run and to hide, But I actually...
we've got to. We can't
no,
stay.
No.
He's going to... He's going to literally kill us.
We have to confront him.
I can't do that again.
I know. But look, it's a matter of, I think, safety as much as it is a matter of principle. That I think that we have to.
He's going to be... we've wounded him. Like, he's going to be like a cornered animal. He's going to go ballistic. We can't.
I'm not saying that it will end well. I'm not saying that this is
it won't.
a de facto a good thing. But I can't see it getting any better if we just run away. I mean, look, all roads lead here. We're going to have to come back at some point anyway.
Yeah, I guess so. Unless we just don't.
Is that an option?
We can try.
Feel like...
I know people, that could put us up.
But not indefinitely.
Not each of them indefinitely, but maybe as a group.
Plus it's our flat, like all our stuff's there.
Oh, fuck. We should have thought about this. We're in over our heads. We went too far, too fast.
Who knew that it could all end like this? One man's broken mug is another man's downfall. Poor Mark. He's gonna fucking kill us.
I'm out. Nino. And the fact that we were out there brushing your girlfriend's plants, which sounds like a euphemism, but I can assure you is not, because you were there.
Very
You'd have
literal.
known,
Yep.
Just to create some kind of...
I actually
grass
suggested you do
ambience.
it. So,
That's true, you did.
so yeah, it feels like it's going to be quite strange to go from all of that running around on location,
Scaring ourselves.
bullshit, to a regular 2 shows a week podcast.
Which is
again.
something that Supercont Noah pointed out quite, pointedly.
Yeah, there was a lot of shade.
Yeah, there was some shade thrown, but that's our
That's
relationship.
all
isn't
part
it?
of it. Yeah,
He throws us shade. We throw him, a pillow.
we double charge him for the Patreon.
Good idea.
Yeah, so we're going to struggle to get back to things as usual.
How are you feeling about the idea of coming back? Because doing it 2 times a week.
Oh, well, I mean, that's, I think, quadruple the output of the last month at least.
Yep. And as we've said on Twitter, we are straight away from this Sunday committing to Sunday, Wednesday as normal.
Sunday, I think, will be fine because it's bullshit, really. I mean, I don't know how we get away with it.
Secrets.
But we've got like a couple of things to talk about that have happened in the meantime.
Ages,
yeah, months. I've changed. We're about to be thrown out the flat. I mentioned that already.
It's really on our minds for some reason.
But it's the Wednesdays that I'm more worried about. I mean, we haven't, in a sense, we've done more content than ever before.
But in another sense.
It's not been features. We haven't done features.
They've always been the backbone of the show, haven't they?
No.
Oh,
No, the backbone of the show has always been the avoidance of or significant lack of features.
We did do a whole episode of pitching features. I believe it was called Feature Pitch. So if you want to bring up Ding Dong Dadvice, bring it to the fore.
Ding Dong
Dadvice, then now might be as time as any.
I'm feeling as though that's a lot of on-location recording again, and that's just a lot of... I just don't really have the energy for that anymore.
Why is it so hard to do good?
I know. So maybe we'll end up going back to some old favourite. I mean, Shame Mail, that's always there.
Well, I never.
So, who are you playing?
I'm going to be the Declan role.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was sort of asking only as a joke. I assumed that we would just play ourselves.
No, well, I play myself all the time.
Yeah, I know all too well that you do. But I just feel like you're...
I don't know what you mean by that, but
I feel like you're going to offend
I'm not.
me.
Okay, let's just start. UBI, when we've got equal opportunity to offend each other.
Right, but I don't want to... I kind of wanted to take this seriously.
Yeah, I'm taking it seriously.
Right.
I'm a professional actor.
So why are you bringing up equal opportunity to offend one another?
Because that was just a fun joke, because I'm a professional comic.
Right.
In a way.
Okay.
Should we pick up from chapter 2?
I think so, yeah. So the what?
Oh, no, sorry, chapter 20.
As they're getting to the house.
Yeah, so they're just in the house. Let's recap. So the last thing that happened, they opened the door. There's a whole thing about a key. It didn't make a lot of sense. But that's the nature of of the feature.
Improvised narrative.
They picked up the key, they opened the door they were in, and now the door is locked. So when you're ready, your line first.
Declan, the door is locked.
I know, Isaac.
Okay, right, let's...
What?
Sorry.
Well, don't do that. You just pull stuff out of the computer.
Sorry, you can't...
So
You promised you were going to take this seriously and you weren't going to offend me.
I'm taking it seriously. I'm method acting.
Sorry, that's hugely offensive to me.
In
I
what
know
way?
that I have a nasal voice, okay?
I wasn't even
I've
doing
got a
a
big
voice.
blocked nose.
I did not do a voice.
I mean, you can listen back.
to the
Well, I
tapes.
will. Yeah, well, go on
Okay.
then.
Well, we'll do it now.
Yo, you.
Okay, well, I might have done a voice I slipped into.
Right, okay, yeah.
But
well,
that
there you
was
go.
the
No,
acting
no, no,
working
no,
through
no,
me.
no, no.
Okay,
no,
look,
you've
I'm
lost
sorry.
it. You can play yourself.
You can do
your-
one of my voices.
No, you can slip into your weird fucking
probably
voices
can't
for
do my
yourself.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm sure that you'll be just as roundly offensive when you're playing yourself as you were for me.
They're not very easy to offend. We've just done that line about the door, so let's go from Declan's next line.
I know I'm there too.
Then why are we still texting?
'Cause we can't speak, or else he might hear us.
Who?
You know, the one upstairs.
Do you mean ... God?
And then it says 5 minutes later.
Mhm.
No,
You don't mean God.
10 minutes later. No, I didn't mean God. I meant Joe.
Hello?
Isaac, can you hear, brackets read me?
Hit me up on WhatsApp. This bullshit ain't working.
I haven't got any 4G here.
I can't keep sending as text message ... Green bubble drive me mad. 5 exclamation points.
Thumbs down emoji, clown emoji. Sorry, last one was a mistake.
Knife emoji. That's you, mate.
Wait a minute. That's not Isaac. Who are you?
20 minutes later ... No response.
Why did you text me no response?
Sorry, Angela. I meant to text another girl.
Hang on a minute. My name's not Angela.
Who dis?
You are Joe.
10 minutes later. I am not. And that's why we won't be bringing back Hooked anytime soon. It wasn't, as well received as others. Although I did print off that tweet from Kangaroo where he said he quite liked it.
Oh, yeah. So maybe we can spark some sort of tribalism between the listeners.
That's
as
a good
to whether or
idea.
not they want Hooked.
Divide and conquer.
Exactly.
That's what
that
you
is
want in the
what
audience.
conquering is the final goal of any audience-based.
Absolutely
medium.
it is. That's what I've learned.
Yeah. One of the final things that we probably should get out of the way and should
Don't say get out of the way,
No,
because this is
okay.
a luxurious experience
that
for
we
us
should
and listeners.
elucidate for the listeners
Uh-huh.
is that in any narrative as complex and
God,
as
it's
thorough,
layered.
as well thought out
As
as this,
purely artistic.
there's going to be somewhat of an entourage.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean in terms of crew, I mean in terms of cast.
Absolutely.
The dramatis personae.
A real who's who of the characters that you wouldn't want to meet in any circumstance.
Yeah, anywhere, anytime.
Anyhow.
Um,
Who stood out for you?
but there are so many.
Well, of course there are.
Am I allowed to pick more than one?
You can pick 4, 5.
Okay.
I think that might be all of them.
I think there's only 4. Well, obviously there's Joe and Angela.
Oh, yeah.
/ just Joe.
Joangela.
Joangela. Like
Like a
sort of-
tarantula.
I was thinking of a Jumanji sequel.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're kind of adjacent to each
Yeah,
other.
okay,
aren't they?
yeah.
A big spider called Joe.
But I think, obviously then there's Mike and Ike.
Oh, favourites.
Real
How did you get into character
characters.
as Mike? Let me just ask you that, because obviously we go into our separate dressing rooms before performances.
Yeah, what I did was I just wrote a little note for myself that I had up in front of me that just said, "Don't call Isaac Ike."
That's pretty clever, because you didn't call me Ike.
No.
You didn't call me Isaac.
Yeah.
You did call me Ike.
Yeah, I meant don't call Ike Isaac.
Right. No, that's really good then, because that...
Actually, the note confused me, so I threw it away.
I F that note.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was more of, I guess there was a lot of mirror gazing, and really I just had to become...
You had to get into the altered state.
Well, God, that altered state, it really threw me for a 6, let me tell you. Spit everywhere.
This room is filthy. He's really taken to the altered state ever
I
since.
can't get out of it. I spend more time altered than
More time as altered Ike than he does as little old Isaac.
Oh, but that's the cross you bear as an actor, isn't it? And sometimes, some are comparing that performance to Heath Ledger's Joker, because he just got so into the role that you remember,
Died
he jumped off a
afterwards.
building and pulled Batman down with him.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Of course, I think it would be remiss of us to forget the wonderful Roger/Roger X.
Oh, Roger
as he was
X. Now, who played that? Did we hire someone in for that? Because it was unrecognisable.
I think we must have done. Yeah, I don't quite remember myself.
It was someone who was so deep into the role that you couldn't see a single fibre of their being.
No, you couldn't foresee them ever leaving that role.
All I could see was Roger, and I was scared.
And then, of course, I suppose his counterpart would be Blind Willie Renfold.
Off of the intercom, yeah. Fun little behind the scenes fact, recorded on this very intercom in our flat.
That we're about to lose
Access to forever.
Have we mentioned?
No, I don't think we brought it up.
Okay, that's
but
fine,
it's it's something of a pressing issue in our immediate futures. But we'll keep you up to date with all of that.
It's interesting because they're characters who we came up with, I don't want to say on a whim at the very last second, in order to add some diversity to the voice cast of the true crime episode.
Yeah.
But that is kind of how they happened. But you still end up kind of wondering and what-ifing about, what are they doing now?
Yeah.
Where are they?
What's their life like without Mike and Ike to anchor it together? I wonder.
I wonder also. Put the straw to his lips. He knew they were in for a treat. Okay, right, let's have a read back of that. Chapter 2, in which a release of tension leads to felching. "Oh, Willie," Roger moaned. "What a prolific phallus you are sporting today. Could I trouble you for a touch or two?" Willie looked at Roger with all the lust of an enormous pigeon staring at the majesty of God's own ocean. That's quite a lot for birds. "Of course, Roger. Grapple away." Come in.
Roger, it's me.
Oh, Billy. Oh, it's good to see you.
How are you doing today?
Not bad, thanks, Willie. Not bad.
That's very good to hear.
How was your day?
Oh, let me tell you, Roger, it's great to be off my feet.
Oh, it must have been quite the trial for
It
you.
was very difficult from start to end.
You've been out for almost 14 minutes now.
Yes, I have, and it's done my knees the world of bad, Rog.
I'm sorry to hear it, love.
Enough about me. How are you, my love?
Oh, it's been quite a quiet day, know.
What have you been up to?
Oh, this and that. A bit of penmanship, that's all.
Roger, you're an artist, aren't you, at heart?
Oh, you see right through me,
I've
Willie.
always known it, Roger. I've known it in my soul, in my bone.
Yeah, just a little bit of, ink on paper.
That's what the Lord would have wanted, isn't it, Rog?
And indeed what he continues to want from me as his soldier here on earth.
Are you part of Aslan's army, are you, Rog?
You must have seen some of my paraphernalia.
That's great stuff, it really is, Roger. It's very good to look at.
Oh, it makes me so happy to hear you say that most people are turned away when they see the lion gimp suit, but not
People
you.
these days, Roger, they're too sensitive, not like you and me. Of course, we're sensitive souls, but not sensitive to offence.
Sensitive in other ways as well, eh?
Do you mean... Oh, you're a cheeky little boy, Roger. Oh, you've wet an old man's
What?
Only in the good way, Roger. Don't worry yourself.
You had me worried that we'd be reaching for the tenner pads
Oh,
already.
not today, Roger. It's not a party.
Speaking of your crotch.
Oh, yes.
There's quite the bulge in your pocket. Is that something?
Oh, you've reminded me, Roger, when I was in town just now, I picked you up out of the goodness of my black heart. A treat.
You didn't.
Aye, I did. I got you a treat.
Willie, you're far too good to me.
Aye, I am, but you deserve it, Roger, you really do. Let me get it out now.
Goodness,
Ready your hands.
here they
Cup
are.
them.
Oh my goodness, they're cupped.
Oh, which pocket? There.
No,
Take it in, Roger.
you didn't.
Aye, I did.
Where did you even find one in town? I've been looking
I
for months.
found it. The last place you'd expect, Roger. I found it in the trash.
You found this in the trash.
Aye, I did.
Some people have got just no respect.
No respect for property, Roger.
Bit like that son of yours.
Don't speak his name, Roger. I'm having a good day and I don't need to be reminded of that good-for-nothing waste of flesh.
I didn't say his name.
Aye, but when you started talking about him, his name flashed across my mind.
no.
But if you cut that M off of...
Don't
Thank you,
don't
Roger.
trouble
Then
yourself.
you're left with Ike. An altogether more respectable package.
Oh, a sexy little fucker too.
What did you say there,
Just
Roger?
a strapping young lad.
Aye, he's got the shoulders of a bison. A young one, but a bison.
And the cock of a Greek god.
A what? Sorry, Roger, you have to speak up.
And the abs of a Greek god.
What did you do seeing his abs, Roger?
Just
You've been on his Twitter.
his Instagram.
Oh, look at you, Roger. I didn't know you were Web 2.0.
Anything where you can see pictures of other people, I'm on board.
Some have said that this whole experience was sort of therapy for us.
I think I've said that.
Yeah,
I think you have as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an unforeseen consequence of the whole thing. I guess, although we spent 3 episodes talking about it at the time, it was a weird experience. You told me that you've told the story to lots of...
Yeah, but it becomes quite performative naturally,
Uh-huh.
and therefore not less sincere, but I'm not kind of breaking any new ground. I'm
And
just
you're not
going,
crying in the middle of the story anymore.
No, not since at least January.
That's really
I think.
good.
Yeah.
Let me just... Thanks. No, that's progress.
So, although it's been quite a large part of our lives ever since, obviously, I suppose it hasn't properly been dealt with and has been lurking under the surface.
Yeah, because
like
we
the Killer
freaked
Joe
ourselves
was.
out, didn't we? Whenever we were doing, like we said, the bits in the car, but also just bits when we were sat in my room at 4 a.m. thinking of things that he could do that would be creepy, like having you outside screaming while
Yeah.
I was doing an intro. Stuff like that. It gets to you a little bit.
You start to wonder as well, what on earth would any of our neighbours think if
Oh,
they can
God.
just hear?
I imagine they're used to it by now, and whilst worried, they've kind of come to terms with the fact that we're alive each day after. So
They've
they probably
found
just think
peace
that
with
what
it.
consenting adults do in their flat is up to them. As well it should be. Final thoughts then in this episode. We should promise as well, this is going to be the last time we talk about it at length.
Probably ever.
The whole affair. Yeah, we might reference every now and then, but this very much is intended to put a cap on everything. How do you think it was? Obviously, we've talked about how it was an idea that was ill thought out, ill prepared, and ill executed in many respects, and how it's been somewhat divisive, although
Poorly communicated,
very much so.
slowly put together.
Absolutely.
But I would say, for me, and probably for us at least, immensely enjoyable to do.
Yeah. Whenever we've been
draining.
doing them, it's been fun, and we've found, like I said before, there's been some stuff that we're not so used to in terms of like sincere performance and being like, yeah, this is us trying to be scared. Like, hope you like it. Hope it sounds a bit like we are, because otherwise that's a bit shit. And that's always quite like vulnerable. So it was fun to put it out there. But I guess now the whole thing's over and the story's at an end.
There's still that final character to whom we must attend. We've exhausted all the options and there's nowhere left to go.
Except to say we give to you the man himself. It's Joe. My name's Joe, and I know I'm the baddie, even badder than Maddie's. Killers are mine.
But not now. I've got in touch with my dad. He's even sadder than sad that I was making kids die, so I've changed. I'm volunteering at Tesco. I've let all that mess go, left the past in the past.
And it's strange that with a simple hey presto, though I've not been the best, or there's redemption at last.
Here in Bloxwich, we're changing all our murderous ways. Here in Bloxwich,
We're getting better every day,
but here in Bloxwich, we're smiling through the gloom. 'Cause here in Bloxwich, breakfast's coming soon. Are you ready, Willie?
I've not warmed up yet, Rog.
Let's just give it all you got.
I'll do it for you,
Thank you.
for us.
My name's Rog. I'm a recovering sex pest who'd look out for the next best chapter cottage with me. Now if you ask, who the bloody ex-blessed, my love, you'd never have guessed, my love, the old Rog is he.
My name was Renfold, but I'm changing it soon. I'm simply over the moon. I'm born again in your arms, call me mad. But Rog, this feeling that takes hold, why it's 8, 9 or 10-fold more than what I once had.
That were really nice, Willie.
Oh, thank you, Rog.
You're a lovely man.
You are as well.
Here in Bloxwich, we're giving up on solitude. Here in Bloxwich,
We live together in the new.
but here in Bloxwich, we're smiling through the gloom. 'Cause here in Bloxwich, breakfast's coming soon. My name's Mike.
And I'm Mike.
We're at the top of our game. Unlike the poor, that's a shame. Lads, even worse now they're dead. We'll try not
We'll really try
to rub it in their dead faces, but whoever replaces them will be better instead. Winner. Here in Bloxwich, we don't believe in climate change. Here in Bloxwich,
The anti-coals are all deranged,
but here in Bloxwich, we're smiling through the gloom. That has nothing to do with air pollution from coal. 'Cause here in Bloxwich, Dial M will be back soon. We're sorry we might have got carried away.
but we promise the end's in sight.
We'll see you again in a couple of days with a feature to set things right. Set things right.
patreon.com/ShameCity.
My name's Joe, and now it's time to fly solo. Carpe diem and YOLO and all of that stuff, though it's hard. You know the sky is the ceiling, and I can't shake this feeling that I need to be tough. 'Cause here in Bloxwich, the demons are still prowling, Nick. Here in Bloxwich,
The voices whisper in my ear that here in
Bloxwich, I'm smiling through the gloom. 'Cause here in Bloxwich,
I ate and then became my own wife.
listen to 3.5
Patreon thing.
Oh dear.
You okay?
Yeah.
Recovered?
Yeah.
Good.
That's
got to be
that is it, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing more.
No, well, maybe just one more thing.
Song?
Not a song. Just one more. Come close.
What?
One more pitch shift.
Fuck
Off.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. The bare necessities, the bare necessities, the bare necessities of life will come to you.